So, like I said in the before review, I absolutely love the MW08 stainless steel case. The MW08s also have a very impressive combined battery life of up to 42 hours, and I really like their ambient mode. But for me, I still find it very hard to justify getting these earbuds because they're still lagging behind their main competitors, like either the Sennheiser Momentum 2s, AirPods Pro, Jabra Elite 85Ts, and even the Galaxy Buds Pro. Regarding pricing, the MW08s retail for $300, which is pretty pricey if you ask me. Now, the Momentum 2s also retail for $300, but they can usually be found on sale these days for $250. The AirPods Pro also have a retail price of $250, but they can be found on sale for $230. Then there's the Jabra Elite 85Ts, which have a retail price of $230, and the Galaxy Buds Pro have a retail price of $200, but they can be found on sale for $190. Now, depending on your needs, one of these earbuds will be better suited for you. But nonetheless, if you want to pick any of these earbuds up, they'll be linked down below. Now first, let's talk about the cases here, because like I said, I absolutely love the MW08 stainless steel case over all of these other plastic cases. The MW08 case is noticeably larger than the AirPods Pro's case, Galaxy Buds Pro's case, and Jabra's case, but it is smaller than the Momentum 2's case. Specifically, it's thinner. Now, the Momentum 2's case is manageable, but I do hope the future Momentum 3's case gets shrunken down similar to the CX400BT's case. Overall, you can daily drive any of these cases, but if you are looking for maximum convenience and the least noticeable case, then you are better off going with either the AirPods Pro or Galaxy Buds Pro. But if you're looking for something luxurious, then yeah, the MW08 case are the way to go. There's just something about this dense, cold, hard case in your hands that makes taking your earbuds out and putting them back in an experience every single time. However, one drawback about the MW08 stainless steel case is that it doesn't have wireless charging. Now, the Momentum 2s also don't have wireless charging, which is very unfortunate because basically for 2021, wireless charging is a pretty standard feature, especially for these more premium earbuds, because the AirPods Pro, Galaxy Buds Pro, and Jabra Elite 85Ts all have wireless charging. Now, even though the MW08s don't have wireless charging, they do make up for it by having the longest combined battery life here. With their active noise cancellation turned off, these earbuds can go for 12 hours straight. Plus, the case can supply an additional 2.5 charges. We're looking at a combined battery life of 42 hours. And with their ANC turned on, the earbuds themselves can go for 10 straight hours plus 2.5 charges. We're looking at a combined battery life of 35 hours. Whereas both the Momentum 2s and Galaxy Buds Pro both have an advertised combined battery life of 28 hours with their active noise cancellation turned off. And with their active noise cancellation turned on, the Galaxy Buds Pro have an advertised combined battery life of 18 hours, which is definitely still usable, but it's nowhere near the MW08 combined battery life of 35 hours with their active noise cancellation turned on. And then there are the AirPods Pro, which have an advertised combined battery life of 24 hours with their ANC turned on, and the Jabras have an advertised combined battery life of 25 hours with their ANC turned on. But with their ANC turned off, the Jabras have a combined battery life of 31 hours, which is great, but it's nowhere near the MW08's combined battery life of 42 hours with their ANC turned off. So even though the MW08s don't have wireless charging, they more than make up for it by having a monster battery life in a relatively small package. But now let's talk about the earbuds themselves. Regarding fit, the Momentum 2s are the only earbuds here that fit like your standard pair of in-ear earbuds, as in they go into your ear canals a decent amount. The Momentum 2s offer good lockdown and they stay in place very well, but they can get itchy after a while. Whereas with the AirPods Pro and Jabras, they're both shallow fitting earbuds, as in they don't go in super deep into your ear canals. So the AirPods Pro and Jabras feel more natural and they don't get as itchy. But the AirPods Pro do like to wiggle out more often. Now, the Jabras can also wiggle out, but they don't wiggle out as much as the AirPods Pro. But then there's the Galaxy Buds Pro and MW08, which fit in between a pair of shallow fitting earbuds and a pair of standard fitting in-ear earbuds. They go in a little deeper than the AirPods and Jabras, offering better lockdown, but they don't go in as deep as the Momentum 2s. However, since the MW08 are still using round ear tips, they do tend to wiggle out quite a bit and they don't feel as natural. So if you're someone that's really concerned about fit, then I would recommend either the Galaxy Buds Pro or Jabras. The Galaxy Buds Pro offer better lockdown than the Jabras, but the Jabras are a little more comfortable. Regarding connectivity, the earbuds on the AirPods Pro, Galaxy Buds Pro, and MW08 each establish a connection with your phone. So if you just want to use one earbud at a time, you can use either one, it doesn't matter. And for 2021, this is the connection setup that we want to see from our earbuds. Whereas both the Momentum 2s and Jabras are still using a Hero and Sidekick setup. So one earbud, the Hero earbud, in this case the right earbud, actually establishes a connection with your phone and then relays that connection over to the other earbud. So if you just want to use one earbud at a time, you gotta use the correct earbud. In this case, the right earbud, the Hero earbud. Now at this point, earbuds that are still using a Hero and Sidekick setup do feel rather last gen. However, the Jabras do justify their use of a Hero and Sidekick setup because they can be simultaneously connected to any two Bluetooth devices regardless of operating system. So if you're a power user that's using an iPhone and you've got a Windows machine, you're still going to be able to easily hot swap between your two devices. Whereas with both the AirPods Pro and Galaxy Buds Pro, they allow you to hot swap between multiple devices as well, but only in their respective ecosystems. So if you're an Apple Power user, then AirPods are great, or if you're a Samsung Power user, then Galaxy Buds are great. But when it comes to performance, all of these earbuds have zero latency across the board when watching movies or videos on your phone, whether you're using an iPhone or an Android device. But when it comes to audio codecs, the AirPods Pro, Galaxy Buds Pro, and Jabras all only have support for SBC and AAC, whereas these more premium options like the MW08 and Momentum 2s both have support for SBC, AAC, and aptX. But now let's talk about listening to music with these earbuds. If sound quality is a priority for you, then the AirPods Pro are the last earbuds you want to be looking at here. Compared to these other earbuds, the AirPods Pro sound very narrow. They put an emphasis on the mids and their bass does not resonate whatsoever. Personally for me, I never use my AirPods Pro to listen to music. For me, I only use AirPods Pro to watch videos or to listen to podcasts with. Now personally, I'm also not the biggest fan of how the MW08 sound because they have a very bass-heavy sound signature and their mids are fairly recessed. So for me, it is harder to hear the vocals and instrumental on these earbuds. And for me, this is the main reason why I find it so hard to justify getting these earbuds, because I just don't like how they sound. Now, the MW08s do have a companion app, but unfortunately, you still can't change the EQ here. So for now, you're still stuck with the MW08's bass-heavy sound signature. But then there are the Jabra Elite 85Ts that sound much more open than the AirPods Pro, and they also have hard-hitting bass that does resonate a little bit. But more importantly, these earbuds sound much more balanced than the MW08s. Now, these earbuds also have a fully customizable EQ, but these earbuds are better suited for people who like a warmer EQ, because these earbuds just don't sound as open as the Galaxy Buds Pro or the Momentum 2s. Now, if sound quality is a high priority for you, then either the Galaxy Buds Pro or Momentum 2s are good options. Actually, right now, the Momentum 2s are my favorite sounding earbuds and the Galaxy Buds Pro are a close second. Both of these earbuds sound much more open than these other three earbuds. They're also both going to be able to please people who either like a bass-heavy EQ, because they both have a rich, hard-hitting bass, and they're both going to be able to please people who like a more vocals-focused EQ, because they both have crystal clear highs. However, the Momentum 2s do manage to inch out ahead here because they do sound just a little more open, their bass hits a little harder, and they also don't put as much of an emphasis on the mids and highs as the Galaxy Buds Pro. There's also the fact that you have a fully customizable EQ with the Momentum 2s, whereas with the Galaxy Buds, you just have a list of preset EQs to choose from. And unfortunately, as of mid-April 2021, Samsung still hasn't updated their iOS app. So you're not going to get the most out of the Galaxy Buds Pro with an iPhone. So if you're an iPhone user and you're really concerned about sound, then you do want to go with the Momentum 2s. Or you can even go with the CX400BTs and save yourself a good amount of Dogecoin. Now, when it comes to media controls, the Jabras, Momentum 2s, and MW08 all allow you to play or pause your music, skip a track, go back a track, cycle between your active noise cancellation and your ambient mode, or even raise or lower your volume all straight from the earbuds themselves. And personally, I really like when you have all of this control straight from the earbuds themselves. The difference here is that the Momentum 2s are using touchpads, whereas both the Jabras and MW08s have physical buttons. But then there are the AirPods and Galaxy Buds whose controls are a little more limited. With the Galaxy Buds, you can map pressing and holding to either cycle between your active noise cancellation, adjusting the volume, or activating your voice assistant, but you can't have it all, like with the Jabras, Momentum 2s, or MW08s. And then there are the AirPods whose controls are even more limited because you can only have pressing and holding to either cycle between your active noise cancellation or activating Siri. And if you want to adjust the volume, then you're just going to have to ask Siri to do it, which does take forever versus just taking out your phone. However, one key thing to keep in mind is that both the AirPods Pro and Galaxy Buds Pro have always listening voice assistants if you use them with their respective devices. So if you're using AirPods with an iPhone, you can be like, hey Siri, call so-and-so. Or if you're using Galaxy Buds with a Galaxy device, then you could be like, Bixby, send so-and-so a text, and boom, it's all done with just your voice. But now let's move on to the active noise cancellation on these earbuds. Now first, I do want to taper expectations here. The ANC on these earbuds mostly focuses on constant low frequency sounds, and it isn't going to block out nearly as much noise as a proper pair of over-ear ANC headphones, like either the AirPod Max, Sony 1000 XM4s, or Bose NC700s. Now with that being said, the Jabra Elite 85Ts block out the most amount of noise here. They used to be neck and neck with both the Momentum 2s and AirPods Pro, but after a firmware update, their ANC did improve. Now below the Momentum 2s and AirPods Pro are the Galaxy Buds Pro, and then there are the MW08s, which do block out the least amount of noise here. So if ANC is very important to you, then go with the Jabras. But like I mentioned in the past, I only use the active noise cancellation on my earbuds when I have to, and what's really important to me is the quality of their ambient mode. Now, for the most part, all of these earbuds have decent sounding ambient modes, and they all do a decent job of blocking out wind noise when walking outdoors. However, both the AirPods Pro and MW08s do have the best sounding ambient modes here. They sound the most natural, and both of their microphone arrays do a spectacular job of blocking out wind noise when walking outdoors. Because in situations where you might be walking outdoors and get hit by a gust of wind, all of these other earbuds will still pick up some wind noise. Both the MW08 and AirPods Pro will still manage to reject that wind noise. So for someone who basically uses their ambient mode all the time when they're outside, that's a pretty big deal. But finally, here's the microphone test. Now, all of these earbuds do have decent sounding microphones for phone calls, but the Sennheisers do have the most amount of amplification here. Now, the MW08s also have a decent amount of amplification to them, but it's not overdone like with the Momentum 2s, which I think is good. Whereas the Jabras don't have as much amplification to them, and personally, I do wish that they focused a little bit more on my voice. However, you do want to try to take phone calls with either the Jabra, Sennheisers, or MW08s in a quieter environment because they do let in a lot of ambient noise. Whereas with both the Galaxy Buds Pro and AirPods Pro, both of these earbuds do a much better job of focusing on your voice, and they also block out a decent amount of ambient noise. Because right now, if we were to switch over to my lapel microphone, you're going to clearly hear all of this chatter. But if we were to switch back over to the Galaxy Buds Pro, it is severely reduced. But more importantly, my voice is still front and center. And again, but this time with the AirPods Pro. If we were to switch over to my lapel microphone, you're going to clearly hear all of this chatter. But if we were to switch back over to the AirPods Pro, it is severely reduced. So definitely, if you do plan on taking lots and lots of phone calls with your earbuds, then you might want to go with either the AirPods Pro or Galaxy Buds Pro. Because right now, with the amount of remote work people are doing, having a good sounding microphone for phone calls is pretty important. So, with all that being said, there's plenty to like about the Master and Dynamic MW08, like a monster battery life, a really good ambient mode that both sounds very natural and does a spectacular job of blocking out wind noise. And I just can't get over their stainless steel case. However, for me, it is very hard to justify getting the MW08s because of their bass-heavy sound signature that you still can't change even though they now have a companion app and their ANC isn't all that impressive. So, if active noise cancellation is very important to you, then I highly recommend the Jabra Elite 85Ts. They block out an impressive amount of noise without a lot of cabin pressure. And unlike the Bose QC earbuds, which also block out a ton of noise, the Jabra's case is way more manageable. Or, if you're somebody that's mainly concerned about sound, then I say go with either the Sennheiser Momentum 2s or the Galaxy Buds Pro. However, if you're an iPhone user, you do want to go with the Sennheisers because unfortunately, you can't get the most out of the Galaxy Buds Pro with an iPhone because Samsung still hasn't updated their iOS app to support them. But if you're an iPhone user looking for maximum convenience, then you do want to go with the AirPods Pro. If you made it this far, I guess you enjoyed the video, so hit that like button and get subscribed. It helps out more than you realize. If you want to pick any of the products up mentioned in this video, those will be linked in the description down below, and you can also support the channel by checking out the merch store. But other than that, I'll catch you next time.